everyone, you are now watching Talk with SHONNA. I actually just recently went to the premiere of a film, a very great film I had a great laugh at, called The Good Family. And I'm pleased to say that I have the director, producer, screenwriter of this movie with us today. So everyone, I have Nick Marciano here with me right now. He is a Toronto filmmaker. He's a director, producer, and screenwriter. So welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
I'm so glad to have you. So I'd like you to tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you originally from, and where are you living now?
I actually was born in Italy and immigrated here in 1958, so I was 5 years old. And I remember those days because, I mean, there's a lot of good memories of those days, a lot of music-wise and so on and so forth. And it was even, I even remember the bad things about those days, which were people were discriminating against the Italians. I mean, if I've heard the word "wop" for the first time, but other than that, most of those memories were good.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying you had never heard the word "wop" before coming here?
No,
yeah.
I remember that time because we would be walking. Let's say I'd be walking with my parents. I grew up in DuPont.
Mm.
We would be walking, and you have these houses, rows of houses, and every once in a while, you'd have these families that would yell out. Not so much yell out, but you can hear it. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
And my dad used to say, "Well, what are they saying?"
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. But I knew that they were making fun of us.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Aw.
Oh no, it's okay. The
I know.
best way to fight that is to succeed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which you most definitely are doing. This film
Fine.
was great. I had such a good time. I laughed my head off. There were so many great moments. So let me just tell you, you're definitely doing that. So that's great.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm curious, what inspired you to get into filmmaking?
As I mentioned before, a typical Italian family in those days was to work. So you didn't have a chance to go to film school or even dream about film school. You didn't even know it existed. Mm. So up to a certain point in my life, I didn't even think about it. However, there was one thing that happened when I was in school, and that was one of my English teachers. We used to hand in these stories that we'd have to write and hand them in. And he would always say, "You have a great imagination. You have a great imagination." I used to get good marks with this. My spelling 0, 0, 0. But these stories would always come on, and he would always compliment me on it. Say, "One day you should write a book. One day you should, because of this imagination that you have." Mm. So I knew something. I knew I had something. I knew I had some kind of gift at that time, but I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what it was. So. Then you get married, you have kids, so you don't really have time to do any of that stuff. But the imagination part of my brain, storytelling, would never disappear. It was always there. It was almost like a curse because you try to forget about it, and then all these stories keep on coming.
Yeah.
And and then one day I read this little article about a contest, a screenwriting contest. And, I thought I'd give it a try. It was 10 pages, whatever. The very first time I ever wrote anything like that. Mm. And sure enough, I came in. And it was run by the National Film Board at that time. Mm. And, I won. To my surprise, I won. And I went and I took this course and I met people. Then, I started that way.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You did it. You won. There's a lot of people involved in a competition like that, and for you to win, that's a big thing.
Well, it started giving me confidence. That maybe I do have a talent.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's something you're innately born with. You kind of either have that vision or you don't, and that's something that you have already, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. That can't really be taught in school, to have that kind of. To have the vision, I think.
I mean, you can learn how to write scripts, but can you write good scripts?
Right, like you sort of learn the technical side, right? But you don't really learn that innate
Exactly.
A neat thing, that
Exactly.
creativity involved. That's very
Yeah.
cool. So, would you say that you always wanted to be a filmmaker?
After that time, after I realized that I did maybe have some talent,
Mm.
then, and at that time I had my own business, so I was doing well. I had a little bit of money. I had friends who had money,
Yeah.
and but I still didn't know how to shoot a film. So what I did is I did a couple of wedding videos just to get a feel, just to see if I had it, if I had the vision, if the visions that I had could be put on film, because you don't know that unless you try it.
Right.
And I did some wedding videos to learn. Believe it or not, that's the way I learned. Angles and zooming and stuff like that, basic stuff like that. I learned by by shooting. I believe I did about 10 wedding videos.
Wow.
And after that, I entertained the thought of perhaps shooting a film.
Yeah.
But again, I've never done anything like that before, and I was what I did is I wrote my first script
Mm.
called Shepherd Boys, and it was about a bunch of boys growing up and getting into trouble and so on and so forth. So I raised some money, very little money, but it was enough to shoot the first feature. It would be my first feature.
Wow.
And I mean, again, I didn't even know how to shoot a film, but what we did is I managed to find a cameraman and a sound guy and so on and so forth. And I'll never forget the very, very first day of shooting, my very, very, very first film. So I had this kid ready to go, and we rehearsed it 3-4 times. He's supposed to walk along the fence and look next door at the girl next door who was sitting on one of these beach things, on these beach towels. So she was very
Nice.
sexy.
Nice.
So the boy was ready, the camera was ready, everybody was ready, and I said, "Okay, everybody, ready?" And I go, "Go!" So the boy started walking, but the cameraman and the sound guy, they just give me a weird look.
Just like, what?
So, I hired them. I was basically their boss.
Right, right.
So they didn't want to, they didn't want
Like rock
to
the
be
boat
too
or
rude on
anything?
me.
Yeah.
But the cameraman did come up to me and said, Nick, like when you start a film, you're supposed to yell, camera rolling, sound rolling. We say yes, and then you say action.
Right, right.
Oh. And then he said, when the scene is over, you yell cut.
Right.
And that's when the first time ever that I thought, holy, wow, I'm a director. I get to yell action and cut.
Yes, yeah.
So that was the very first experience in starting the film. So we had a good laugh about it. And
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a cool way to learn that. I mean, why not, right? That's a great, you're putting yourself out there and you're doing the film, and that's how you learned it.
I'm a firm believer that you learn by mistakes. No matter how much schooling you have, you have to make mistakes. You welcome mistakes. I mean, you
Yes.
have to learn from them, because after a while, you can't continue that way. But by all means, make mistakes, and don't be scared to make mistakes.
Absolutely.
And if
I
they're
agree.
really, really bad, learn from them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like, make mistakes and make them often and make them fast.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Well
Yeah.
put. Yes.
I
yes.
agree with you on that.
Yes,
It's
yes.
definitely a good way of looking at it, for sure.
Yes.
So does filmmaking run in your family? Or,
No.
Yeah?
No. My mother still can't understand, or she didn't when she was alive.
yeah.
I remember the first time there was something on TV that I shot, and she's watching it. I was so proud. Oh, come on, Mom, I'm going to be on TV. This
Yeah.
stuff I shot. And she's watching it. After about 5 minutes, she yawns and she goes, "When is it over?"
Oh.
so she had no clue.
Yeah,
No clue,
didn't quite
yeah.
get it. Yeah, that's okay
Yeah.
though. But you're the one that made that happen in your family, so that's really cool.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I was going to ask you if The Good Family was your first feature film, but obviously it's not, because you did the other film you just mentioned before,
Yes,
right?
yes. The Good
Yeah.
Family is my fourth feature.
Mm.
I did the Shepherd Boys in 5, I believe, which is playing on YouTube all the time.
Yeah.
Then I did a film called Lee's Offering,
Okay.
which was at that time my biggest budget film.
Mm.
And 5 years ago, I shot David's Child, which was based on a book that I had published.
Oh,
Um,
this is your book? You
yes.
published this book? Oh,
Yes,
that's amazing.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you wrote the book and you made the film.
Yes, and
Wow.
then I adapted a screen play
Mm.
from my own book, you see.
Mm.
And then we shot the film. Yeah,
Very cool.
and this year, The Good Family, which we premiered on Sunday, which
Of course.
I was a little nervous, but I think it went well. It was very well received. I was very happy.
Oh yeah, I had a great time. I was laughing my head off. It was so
Yeah.
good. Yeah, I had a really good time. A lot of people there I could see were enjoying it too. It's really
Yeah,
good.
we had good reviews, very good
Mm.
reviews, and I get emails, lots of emails saying how much they enjoyed it and so on. I was a little bit worried about The Good Family because of the it's a gangster film,
Mhm.
and it's almost like Sopranos on steroids. You know, how I would describe it that way.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, that actually leads me to my next question is, what inspired you to make this film, The Good Family?
The gangster film. I think it's inside. I mean, I'm only speaking for myself. I think it's inside all Italian filmmakers to do a gangster film. I don't know why, but it's there. And like my last film, David's Child, was actually a religious thing. Very religious, very touching. Not one swear word in the whole film.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I know. whereas this one here, I was a little bit worried about the language because it gets very intense. The language is a lot of swearing in Good Family, a lot of violence. But the violence, I think, was done in good taste, if there's such a thing. And the language. See, I wrote the script about 20 years ago, and at that time, it wasn't as politically correct as it is today.
Yes.
So when we finally raised the money to make this film, I said, I should clean this up a little bit. I should. So I did try.
Yeah.
I started rewriting 3-4 pages, and then I was realizing that I was destroying the script. And it was a good script. I mean, this script won a very prestigious award.
Yeah.
I mean, these are gangsters.
Yeah.
They don't say, gee, wow, golly. They just rip into each other. And they have to be believable. And I'd like to lead my actors. I want to let them become the characters. I don't want to put too much restrictions on them. So I don't say, you better do it just like my script.
Right.
You become the character.
Right.
My script is just a guide.
Right.
And this swearing all came out from them.
Right. It was sort of like in the moment improvisation.
Exactly. So who am I to stop it? Who am I to say you said too many F words or you said too many? No. I mean, this is the way they talk.
I don't think it would have been as believable either if you
No,
took all those
no,
out. I mean,
like
that's
I
how
yeah.
gangsters talk to each other. That's
Yeah.
how it is, So you want to show how it really is. So, I think if you didn't have it in there, it wouldn't have been as believable, for sure, in my opinion. So,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
And you have the other movie without anything in it. So there you go. It evens itself out, right? There you go. I actually have to see that movie. I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to have to check that one out.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, what are some of your favorite directors, producers growing up? Do you have a lot of, that you look up to?
Yeah, I mean, the typical ones, De Palma, obviously Scorsese, Coppola, I mean, Spielberg.
Yes.
I mean, these guys are the best.
Yeah.
They are the best, and they prove it over and over again by the films that they make. Once in a while you get a bad one, but no one's perfect.
Right, of course.
But I mean, I love Scorsese's stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I could watch his movies forever, and I never get tired of them,
Yeah, it's like kind of one of those movies. He makes movies that you can watch over and over and over
Like
and over again.
Goodfellas. I mean, I have to watch it 3-4 times a year. I mean, I have to. It's just
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people like me that do the same thing.
That's definitely a film that I want to add to my playlist eventually to watch over and over again as well, because there's just so many things in the film. There's just so many aspects that you don't always catch the first time around too. And
Well, this is it. I mean, I remember the first time I watched Goodfellas, and yes, I liked it a lot, but it wasn't the great film that I think it is today. You know, because you miss things, you miss, you know, all kinds of things. Then you watch it the second time, third time, fourth time, and then you realize what a genius this man is.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
You know, yeah. 'Cause,
Definitely, The Good Family is in that category too. It's one of those movies that you want to watch over and over again. I can see myself doing that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got some very complimentary emails from people saying that, you know, I want to watch it again and again and again. I mean, I mentioned this earlier. I entered in a script writing contest and it came in very, very well. It came in top 10.
Amazing.
And I had a studio willing to buy it and make the film, buy my script and make the film.
Oh, okay.
They wouldn't let me direct those, which, you know, it's my baby, you know. You know, I don't want to let it go. Yeah, you know, it's probably financially a dumb move I made, not selling it to them. That still remains to be seen, because I'm not sure what's going to happen with the film. But I gave it a little bit of thought, and then I go, you know what, if my script came top 10 out of 3,000 scripts,
Yeah.
and this guy wants to buy it, first script that I ever would have sold,
Yeah.
then you know what, I'm going to make it myself. I'm going to go and raise whatever money I can. It might take me 6 months, 8 months, whatever I can raise. And whatever I raise, that's what I'm going to shoot the film for. You know, it's, you know, so yes, it is extremely low budget. And you know, I'd be lying if I said otherwise.
Right.
However, the film, it shows very well.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you know, do I regret it? No, I don't regret it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I did it my way, I shot it my way, and I used a lot of actors that only acted a little bit, and some, I lucked out on one aspect, on 3 actors. They were actually Italian comedians. And you know which 3 they are.
Well, you're talking about the 2 leads, right? The two men
brothers,
that are the leads,
yeah,
the brothers, yeah.
and the Mario character.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, and you can see
tell, yeah.
that they're, you know, by their acting and the compliments they get from everybody that, you know, I lucked out with them. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Their performances were great. They really were, and they carried the whole film. And, you know, even shooting in a low budget, you did an amazing job. You got across the story, and you really did it. And I think that's the most important thing, is having the story and having the actors portray the story in such a great way that you don't even really realize about the budgeting. You just it gets across to people. That's the most important thing, really. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I let them loose. Like, I didn't try to direct them too much. I just said, this is, you know, try to get this point across here.
Yeah.
And that way, because sometimes, and I hate to say this, but some Canadian films, unfortunately, some of the directors, they're very, almost like dictators, and they say, you know, this is the script, you do it exactly word for word. These
Right.
poor actors, they're trapped. They're like,
Yeah.
so they give a mechanical performance. You know, they say, oh, hi, honey, I love you, you know, like, you know.
Right.
Whereas if you let them go, let them, if you're convinced that they are the character, then let them go.
Right.
How much better can they be? Why force words into their mouths, which goes against the character?
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, the character being authentic is really the most important thing to get across that character.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
and so I completely agree with you. I understand completely, and being constricted by a script sometimes can mess that up. So
Well,
you gave them
it
some
confuses
some
you, and
room,
then,
you know?
then what happens? It confuses your partner, who's also, because, you know. Whereas with mine, I put them in a room together before we're ready to shoot. The 2 characters, I say, go at it, guys.
Absolutely.
Go at it. And then they, you know, okay, ready to shoot, yeah, come in there. And I don't even have to direct.
Yeah.
They're just
Natural,
the characters.
natural
and,
chemistry.
you know, if they say an extra F word, so what?
Yeah.
That's the character would say
That's the
it.
character,
I
yeah.
didn't write that, but you said it, leave it.
Yeah, that's okay, yeah. I mean, you gave them the character, yeah.
I didn't write that, but you said it, leave it.
Yeah, that's okay, yeah. I mean, you gave them the basis to work off, which very well, I must say.
Thank you.
It's a good
Thank you.
story.
Yeah.
And having people offer you all of these things definitely shows that the power that you have behind this script that you've written, and it's a really powerful script, so.
Thank you.
Yes, you should be definitely proud.
Thanks.
I'm proud of you, so I think you did a good job.
Look, you're making me blush.
That's okay. That's what I'm here for. So how long did it take to make the film, would you say? I know films, they can take a long time sometimes, right?
We didn't shoot it on a daily basis.
Right.
We stopped because some of these actors have jobs.
Yeah, of course.
So I mean, we paid them. Yes.
Yeah.
We probably didn't pay them enough, but we did pay them.
Yeah.
And so it took us about off and on about 3 months. So it wasn't really that bad. And then I waited for a different season to shoot the very last scene.
Yes.
The very last scene where they, it's a late fall, early winter scene. So it contradicted the actual summer scene that the rest of the scenes were.
Right. Right.
So I wanted to show that the teenager godfather matured a bit.
Yes.
And it helped because I told him to grow a mustache. So the poor kid, he's only 16. He said, "I'll do the best I can." I said, "Well, don't shave your mustache. 'Cause I need, I don't want to put a fake one. I want to put, one where a teenager with a mustache where you just barely see it, but you see it."
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
And I want a natural one. So we waited about 4 or 5 months to shoot that very last scene.
Right.
And he had the perfect mustache that I wanted.
Yeah, and it shows the passing of time and makes it
exactly.
more
Yeah.
believable and brings the story across. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Maybe you can tell the viewers what the plot of the film is. I mean, maybe just generally speaking.
Yes,
Yeah.
basically it's about a godfather who has 1 year to live. His doctor said, 1 year you're gone. Okay, nothing's going to help you.
Right.
So, and he's a violent man, fair but very violent. And he's sort of, I wouldn't say turns religious, but he's starting to look at God and see what would it take, despite all the violence, despite all the bad things that he did, is there any chance that he can get to heaven? And if there is, what can he do? So obviously he doesn't talk to God, but he thought about it, and he wants to go and bring a boy, a illegitimate son that he had 16 years earlier, thinking that maybe this might be his ticket to heaven.
Right.
So he gets a hold of the girl that he had an affair with, and he says to her, "I want my boy back."
Right.
Obviously, she says, "No way."
Yeah.
And he says, "Well, you either I'll pay $1 million for him, either $1 million or a bullet." So she has no choice.
Right. Of course.
Now the boy is 16 years old. He's heard that his father was a gangster, but he's never really seen him.
Right.
Never.
Right.
Even though the godfather financially helped him throughout his life, the mother throughout the life.
Right.
So he gets his 2 henchmen to go and get the boy back, and of course the boy doesn't want to come back, but they force him,
Yes.
and it takes a while for him to warm up to the father.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Now the whole thing is that the godfather has a sister who has an idiot son, and she thinks he should be next in line. So when this boy comes into the gangster family, all hell breaks loose.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So she hires 2 dimwit. That's who these 2.
That's a good way of
two
putting
dimwits,
it.
yeah. to kill the boy, and of course, he gets caught, and all kinds of stuff happens. A lot of bad stuff happens.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, with a touch of, even a touch of cannibalism. So I won't go any further than that.
Okay. I know what you're talking about, but
But it was
viewers,
done
you
in-
have to see the film
But I mean,
to
I
know
don't think
that's-
I ever seen so many people laugh at cannibalism before in my life. You know, am I right?
Yes, it's true, and it was very funny, so
Yeah, so.
I'm one of those people that did laugh at it, so there you
So there
go.
you go, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, where do you see yourself in 5 years in terms of the filmmaking industry? What do you see for yourself in the next 5 years?
I know things change almost like amazing how things change, you know. I mean, I haven't been to a movie in, I don't remember the last time I was, because,
Yeah.
you know, I don't want to keep on seeing people in capes and masks, you know.
I know.
I mean, I had enough of that. I mean, I watched a few of them fine, but how many times can you see the hero smash into the cement and the cement breaks and then he flies out and he smashes into another wall? Like, you know, what happened? What happened? I don't know what happened. You know, what happened to these movies, like, you know, where you were entertained and you came out laughing and you came out thinking about some of the scenes, you know.
Right, right.
Because that's the key to a good movie, I believe, is if you can remember certain scenes of a movie, like Schindler's List.
Yeah.
You remember scenes.
You remember the
Oh
scenes.
yeah, there's some powerful stuff there.
Yes.
You know, Raging Bull. I can go on and on.
Yeah.
But when was the last time you can say you saw a movie like that?
Right. So would you say those are probably two of your most favorite movies? What's your favorite
Probably
movie?
Raging Bull is probably, I
Yeah?
think it's probably one. Schindler's List, close second.
Yeah.
Then you get your usuals, you know, the
Yeah.
Godfather.
Well, The Good Family too.
No,
Of
no, I
course.
meant
Yes.
Celine.
Why not?
No, no.
Why not?
So that's what I try to do with my film. I try to put something that you can remember from. You know, not that you just walk out and then you forget about it. But,
Yeah, like it's
you know,
not just a bunch of white noise kind of thing.
Yeah,
It's, there's
you know,
actually
I mean,
something.
some of those movies are successful. They make a lot
Yeah.
of money, so
Oh, yeah.
they, you know, they keep on making them. But God, you know, that's you know, this political correctness is killing everything. You know, not
Yeah.
that I'm against any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not that silly to try to talk bad about it. But
Yes.
nothing was wrong with what we had before.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, the way you portrayed this film in that, you know, that day and age, and you kept the script, you know, in that stage, which I think made it more realistic because that's really what was happening, you know.
Yeah, you want to entertain. You want people to go in there and be entertained.
Yeah. It's
You
not
know,
about like,
You know, it's not about, you know, this and that. It's about being entertained.
Right.
That's what the movie industry is.
absolutely, for sure.
And, you know, it's lost. It got lost. I mean, I had Netflix, and before I wait, 'cause I was tired of wasting my time watching movies.
Yeah.
Because in the end, I always be disappointed.
Right.
You know, and I same thing. How can they be so stupid? You know, but so now before I watch a movie, I look it up.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to waste an hour and a half
Right.
or 2 hours of my life
Of course.
being disappointed again.
Absolutely,
And then
yeah.
all these movies, I mean, they're all, you know.
Yeah, there needs to be more substance. There needs to be more substance to the whole
bring
thing.
the old, I wouldn't say the old stuff, because I don't want to be looked on as old-fashioned or anything
Yeah,
like that. But,
yeah.
but there was nothing old-fashioned about those films. They were entertaining, they were good.
Yes.
And why they stopped, I don't know.
Very timeless movies too.
Yes,
You
exactly.
know, we can watch now and it'll always be good. It'll always
Exactly,
be good. Yeah.
exactly. I mean, how many times can you watch Thor, or Spider-Man 16, or
Yeah.
like, you lose count after a while.
Yeah.
There's nothing there. I
You
mean,
do.
How mean can the monsters be? Anyways.
It's true,
I
that's
get
true,
upset,
yeah.
so I don't want to talk about it no more.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So, are you making a sequel to the film?
Actually, I wrote part 2 already.
Oh,
So,
very
so,
nice.
Yeah,
Good.
it's basically the same concept, you know, the
Yeah.
same kind of thing.
Yes.
Where there's entertaining and it's shocking and so yeah, it's already done. Now it's just a matter of seeing what happens with this film that the part 1 and
Yes.
and seeing if I can raise some money to shoot part 2. I mean, we'll be sending it. we'll be sending it to some festivals.
Very good. I was going to ask that. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, the festivals are tricky as well because it's, maybe 5% get accepted. The other 95% are all favors.
Yes.
People that are working at the festival. So
Of course.
and it's not fair.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking, because you put a lot of work. Not only me, but a lot of these other people, even with short films, they put a lot of work into their stuff. I mean, a lot of sweat.
Yes.
And they're good. But once they're submitted for the festival, the festival has favors they have to do. I mean,
Yes.
So they let these other films in without even sometimes looking at them.
It's a lot more things involved, for sure.
Maybe festivals can get upset if anybody watches get upset at me for saying this, but it's the truth.
It is. It is the truth.
You know,
Yeah.
like
It's how it is. I know.
it's the truth, and I feel bad. I feel bad for some of these filmmakers because they have good stuff, and they spend money and time to enter them in these festivals, and
Absolutely.
some of them they don't even look at them. They just send them back.
I know.
I
Yeah.
mean, let's be honest about it. That's what
That
happens.
is honestly how it is. I agree with you. I
Yeah.
understand completely what you're saying there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the next one when it comes to fruition. I'm sure it will. And I want to thank you so much for being on the show. Where can we find you on social media?
The Good Family has a page, a Facebook page.
Yeah.
Other than that, through you.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. If
Yeah.
anyone wants to get a hold of you or to know anything about the film, you
Yeah.
can contact me on any of my media profiles, which you all know, my Instagram, my Facebook, all of that. Contact me and I can hook you up with information about the new film and of course the film that's already out, which is amazing.
And they can always email me, Nick at Calden Films.
Yes, of course,
Nick
that
at
too.
caldenfilms.ca.
Beautiful.
And I answer all my emails.
Beautiful,
Okay, yeah.
beautiful. Well, I want to thank you so much for
No,
joining us
thank
today
you
on
for
the
having
show.
me. Thank you for having
And I
me.
definitely want to have you on again when you do the next films. And everyone look out for this film, The Good Family. It is such a laugh, a great, great, great film. So thank you so much for joining us today. And thanks again, Nick.
Again, thank you for
Thank
having
you.
me.
Thanks for watching Talk with Shauna. Let the music live through you.
Gonna turn up